Hello, welcome back to Demo Fridays with Dawn. That's me. You could have demo days with somebody else, but their name would have to still start with a D because Demo Days with Dawn. See the 3 Ds there? So that's just beside the point. Today I'm showing the Easy Dresden ruler. It comes 2 ways. It comes without the little gadgety tool, the point turner, or it comes with the point turner. This is I believe it's a 22.5 degree ruler. Any wedge that you can come across. Like, look at this humongous wedge.
Oh, look at that.
Same ruler. Same ruler. Exactly the same. 22 degrees, 22.5 degrees. But then there's this one. It's, I don't know what degrees this, 45 degrees. So wedge ruler, 45 degrees. It makes a wedge like this, and then there's no hole cut out. The Dresden plate usually has these little wedges, and then there's a hole left inside. So you can see, here's the pattern. That's the little mini Dresden plate. Isn't that so sweet? Just love that. Adorable. This is probably my favorite block. If somebody asked me what my favorite block was, I would think that the Dresden plate. And the reason is because it combines piecing and handwork. Because I hand appliqued all this down and then I appliqued the center on. You don't have to. You could definitely put it on your sewing machine, like this example, which Cindy, who works here, she did this one, and I have admired it ever since I worked here. And what she did is, it's the same Dresden plate as what you saw on the quilt, except for she didn't do any handwork. What she did was she made the wedges, and then she just sewed that down. She just went from point to point to point all the way around, and then it leaves it dimensional. And then with her machine, she has this little decorative stitch on her machine, and she just did a decorative stitch around the circle, and voila, no handwork whatsoever. I just love the way this little edge flips up like that. But I love these colors, the Civil War colors, just yummy, delicious. So, of course, you know, I had to have some Civil War ones. These are the leftovers from this one. So, kind of fun, all the different ways you can do it. And this is how you do it. I'm going to move these out of the way. I'm going to get my Easy Dresden. This is my Easy Dresden ruler. It goes all the way from 1 inch to 8 inches. And I've showed you here what that looks like. So you can do anything from 8 inches to this itty bitty teeny
one.
Yeah, isn't that fun? It's not going to make much of a Dresden plate, more of a Dresden saucer. But what I thought would be so fun is if you lined them up on a border.
Like prairie points?
Yeah, like prairie points. If this wasn't glued down, I could slip that under and see how I would have a prairie point.
Yes.
Now, when you have prairie points, they're bulky.
Yes.
You have to fold and then fold again, and then you've got a little, like, finger hole. I mean, it's got a little folded place in it. This wouldn't have that. This is just folded underneath on both sides, and then you would have just the sweetest little light border. So, like for a baby quilt or, you know, a trim of some kind, that would just be the bee's knees. I love that little Dresden plate wedge. Just made with that same ruler. Let me get these off the floor. So how you begin is you take and decide how big you want your plate, your Dresden plate. So let's say I want mine to be 6 inches tall, okay? So I'm going to take my strips, and I'm just going to lay a bunch of strips on top of each other. I think there's 6 here. So however many you're comfortable cutting. Some people are more comfortable just cutting 4 layers, some people 6, some people 8. The newer your blade, the easier it is to cut more layers, obviously. But I just laid those out and I cut them 6 inches. Now here's one, because I like little. Here's one I cut in 3 inches. And then I take my ruler. These should all be lined up. Then I take my ruler, and I can either start at the big end, and if I do that, my circle in the middle is going to be more open. But if I wanted to do kind of like a little embroidery design in my center, and I didn't want the wedges to be the focus, I wanted the center to be the focus, this is the way I would do it, because this would give me a bigger center. But if I scoot this up and the small end is down here, this will give me a smaller opening. The circle won't be as big, okay? So the plates will be, the wedges will be more prominent in the design than the circle. So you can do it either way you want. And then I just cut on the diagonal line there on the side, and then I do the I flip it, and this would be the same angle as I just cut, and then I cut here, and then I flip-flop back and forth, and then I get a stack of wedges that are just yummy delicious. Look at all that. And that probably took me, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes to cut all those wedges. And here's some 30s reproduction. I love to do the Dresden plate in the 30s reproduction because it's so suitable for that design, for that kind of design. So this is the wedge that I cut for those. So I could lay this ruler on here again and cut more wedges. See that? Oh, nope. There it is. So I could cut more wedges. You see that? So I start out with a strip set. The size of wedge I want to cut. I cut my wedges. Once my wedges are cut, I take them and I fold them in half, right sides together. And I press them so that they look like this. And then I sew along the thicker, the top edge, which is wider than the bottom edge. And then when I piece them, I just strip piece them. I just put one in right after the other, after the other, after the other. And this is my little thing of wedges. Then I cut them apart. I take my scissors and I snip off just this little angle here on the fold. This is the fold, not the raw edge over here, but the folded edge. And I don't come in and cut off my, cut into my thread there. I just want to leave that intact. But I cut right above it and cut off that angle to reduce bulk. Then I open this up, and with my finger I press that open. If your fingers aren't really strong, you could always use your finger iron, or you could use a real iron. But then all you just need it to do is to stay open. You don't have to really, make sure that it's crispy clean. And then I'm going to take my thumb and put it right on my open seam, and I'm going to flip that out. And then with this pointer tool that comes with the design, with the ruler, or if you already own one that's kind of a plastic thing, oh, this is an Always in Stitches one, then I'm going to take and I'm just going to gently poke out my point so that my point is nice and pointy. Remember how I told you to press this folded? This is my tip. Not the directions don't tell you to do this. This is me. I'm going to fold that, but then when I have my seam lined up with that fold, I know that my wedge is centered. And that, see, if I didn't have that, how I could get, see how this one is smaller and this one is way longer? So you want that to be centered perfectly. So center your seam with your fold, and then take it to your ironing board and iron that out. And then you have your little pre-made wedge. You can see the edges are turned under. So you don't have to go in and turn these under when you applique it down. So once I've made all my wedges, I'm going to put right sides together. and I'm going to sew those together in 2s. And so I have 2 and 2. I would sew 2 and 2 together, and then 2 more and 2 more, depending upon how my wedges are. If my wedges are even, I can go 2s, 2s, 2s. If they're not even, then I have to go like 2, 2, and then 1. Okay? So you just divide up and see how many wedges you're going to have. And so when I press them open, it looks like this. And it lays perfectly flat. Okay? And once I make all the wedges and get it all the way around, what I like to do is I like to make half of it and then the other half and then put those 2 together and sew those 2 seams. Okay? So then I'm going to have my circle, and in the pattern it will tell you what size circle if it doesn't give you a template for it. Lots of the rulers give you a template. I'm not sure. I think there's a little template inside this one, but I'm not real sure. So then what I would do is I'd treat this kind of like a yo-yo, where I would fold this down. Now if you have a yo-yo maker that is this size, then that'd be perfect to use that. If you don't, just take your finger and fold it under about 1/4 of an inch and do a basting stitch so that this edge is turned under all the way around. Don't pull it tight like you would a yo-yo, just leave it flat. Go to the ironing board, press it really good so that's all your seams are down and underneath. And then once that's on there, then you just would whip stitch this down, or ladder stitch, or blind hem stitch, whatever you want to call that stitch. You just hand stitch that down, and then you come back and put your circle on the top and hand stitch it down. Now I say hand stitch because I like to hand stitch. I like to hand applique. But if you're not a hand applicator and you'd like to do it all on your machine, my friend Cindy made this one, and it is just so beautiful. I love these colors, these Civil War colors. What she did was she did the wedges the same way, and then she brought in her sewing machine and she sewed from edge to edge to edge to edge all the way around. And then these stay a little free, and because they're all turned under, it's all finished. And then she just laid her center down, and then just with a fancy stitch on her sewing machine, she just blanket stitched around it. Isn't that fun?
Fascinating.
But don't you think it'd be so cute if she would have done a little applique in there? She could have even done an applique, a little wool applique would be fun. You know, all kinds of things. I mean, the mind just goes and goes and goes with ideas on this Dresden plate. So I want to show you some of those ideas as I was playing around. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Dear Jane quilt. But her border is done with these wedges, only they're pieced. But if you just did them like this, just out of plain fabrics, how beautiful would that be as a border to a quilt? Wouldn't that be just beautiful?
That would be awesome.
That would be just beautiful.
That would take the quilt to the next level.
Yeah, it certainly would. What if you had a fabric that was two-toned? It had 2 colors going through it. One with the background was this and one the background was that. Just cut it so that the thing is on the center, the division of the color is on the center, and look at what you get. You get a fun little pattern.
Wow.
Isn't that fun? What if you just wanted that same design, but you didn't have that kind of fabric? You could piece. You could strip piece, and then you could cut your wedges. And when you do that, you can either go 2 colors together, so it would be these 2 would make the wedge go in instead of being the same color out, or you could go every other one, like that. Isn't that cute?
It's awesome.
Yeah, so that's a fun technique. Another fun technique is strip piecing your whole strip. See how I just pieced that strip?
Yes.
And then I came in with my wedge ruler, and because I flip my ruler back and forth, it makes this opposite fabrics.
That's
you could
awesome.
even do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different fabrics and not have these the same. You see that? Wouldn't that be fun? So that's another technique that we can do with the Dresden plate. You can change up colors. This is one that I made. This is some leftovers of the one I made, and it was a sunflower. And half of the sunflower was light, and half of the sunflower was dark.
That's pretty.
And so it turned out really, really good. And then I just put a dark center in the middle, and it looked just like a really pretty sunflower. So it depends upon your fabric choices, of course, how you can be creative with the Dresden plate. But it's a fun, easy design. It looks really hard, but it's really not, especially when you use that technique of sewing across the top and flipping it out and getting your points, and everything is already turned under. And I just... Of all the blocks I do, I think the Dresden plate is my favorite because it does combine piecing with handwork, and I really enjoy that. So I hope you'll come in and try it, or if you aren't local, you can call the order line and order one, and we'll get it right out to you. This one is $11.99 with the tool. The one without the tool is $9.99. So very economical, and lots of fun because the cutting is really fast, and then the strip piecing just goes really, really fast, and voila, you've got a Dresden plate. If you make a really big one, like let's say you use this ruler, you could do some beautiful things and make a big pillow for your bed. Tree skirt for a little miniature tree. Wouldn't this be a cute tree skirt?
That would look amazing for a tree skirt.
Oh my goodness, that would be so cute. And there's even bigger ones. I mean, there's ones that come with extensions that you can get them really. And I've got one at home that my big tree is a skirt of wedges.
Wow.
So yeah, it's lots of fun. There's lots of things you can do.
Make a
with
little
the
dog
Dresden.
jacket.
Yeah, you could. Heck yeah.
Little Chloe needs a dog jacket.
Little Chloe.
Little Dresden dog jacket.
Yeah, so have fun with the Easy Dresden Wedge Ruler. Come and see me again. Bye.